If you're new here, welcome. I am Cailin, and today I'm going to be doing the Aries horoscope for May 2022. I will be using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. So you can watch this horoscope if you are an Aries Ascendant, Sun, or Moon sign. And I would personally recommend that you watch your Ascendant sign first and foremost. But having said that, the sun sign horoscope will pertain more to your life goals and your career, whereas the moon sign horoscope will tell you more about your family life and your living circumstances. And if you're an Aries ascendant, this will apply to all areas of your life. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule. For example, if you have a stellium in Aries, but you're not an Aries ascendant, or even if you are an Aries moon with a stellium in Aries, you may find that Aries resonates more for you in terms of your horoscope. So let's cover the new moon eclipse in Taurus first. This occurs on the 30th of April, or if you're in Australia like I am, this will be on the 1st of May. And essentially, this will be occurring in your second house at 10 degrees. Now, normally eclipses can bring through events which are quite sudden and shocking and unexpected. I don't think that this eclipse will be an exception to that rule. However, I just want you guys to know that the energy in terms of the other aspects surrounding this new moon eclipse are actually overwhelmingly supportive. So this new moon eclipse at 10 degrees Taurus will be making a sextile back to Mars, which is your ruling planet Aries, and this will be at 11 degrees, so it's almost an exact sextile to your ruling planet. And we will also have Neptune at 24 degrees, and the ruler of the eclipse, which is Venus, will actually be almost exactly conjunct Jupiter at 27 degrees Pisces. In fact, they will be just 1 minute apart. So Venus, which is the lesser benefic, and Jupiter, which is the greater benefic, being in a conjunction together indicates that some kind of blessing will be ushered through with this new moon eclipse. Having said all that, there is one harsh aspect with this eclipse, which is a close conjunction to Uranus, which will be in Taurus at 14 degrees. So the sense of urgency or the unexpected turn of events is indicated by the natural energy of an eclipse plus Uranus, but then all of this supportive and helpful energy from Pisces and this sextile to the stellium in Pisces indicates that the blessings will overshadow, or I suppose be stronger than anything unexpected that Uranus can bring through. So because this is taking place in your second house, this indicates that there will be a new chapter which commences with regard to your finances and resources. So this can see you introducing a new way of making money. And this will involve your personal efforts because of the sextile to your ruling planet, Mars. Now, because this will be in your 12th house, this can be with regard to something 12th housey. So maybe this will involve spirituality. This could involve things like yoga, meditation, astrology, anything esoteric, and also anything to do with the hotel industry or Airbnbs. And essentially, the 12th house is also connected to foreign countries or remote places, islands, spas, laboratories, prisons as well. So, this new stream of income, which is coming through, could be connected to one or more of those areas. Having said that, because Venus is the ruler of this new moon eclipse, we also want to take into account what Venus is doing. So with Venus conjunct Jupiter and Venus rules over your second house as well as your seventh house, which represents other people, you could be collaborating with other people, and this could be seeing a new stream of income entering your life. Now, in terms of the nature of eclipses and how long they take to start showing their effects, we usually see like some kind of catalyst come through within the weeks which precede the eclipse and the weeks which follow the eclipse. I would normally give it like 4 weeks plus or minus, and also um, in terms of how long it'll take for this to start actually being, let's say, a solid stream of income in your life, it could be a few months. Just give me a sec, guys. I am still recovering from being ill and my voice is just dying. So this is like peppermint and licorice tea, which I didn't even know I had in my cupboard, and it's really delicious. Anyway, so with the new moon eclipse taking place in your second house, this won't just impact you on the financial front. The second house is connected to valuables and possessions and collections of things. So maybe you will start some kind of new collection, and it could be valuables from overseas. It could be books as well, given that we've got Jupiter being involved here. Also, the second house is connected to your sense of self-worth and how much you value yourself. So maybe you're going to be doing a lot of introspective work when it comes to trying to elevate your level of self-care. And this could be by practicing meditation or yoga or even travel. You could be doing some kind of silent retreat. You could be looking at donating things as well. And I'm saying this because Venus and Jupiter will also be conjunct Neptune, and the fact that this stellium of planets in Pisces is in the 12th house is connected to donations and doing things altruistically. So, not that this is necessarily a money hack, but if you really want to try to ride the wave of this new money, new valuables and resources energy while tying in the Neptunian and Piscean effect, the best way to introduce a new stream of income or welcome abundance and prosperity into your life is to give back. So you can donate clothes, you can donate parts of your wardrobe, you can donate money, you can volunteer as well. So volunteering is definitely highlighted or implied with this new moon eclipse. So another thing with eclipses is that the energy of them can be very, very intense, and it can impact us emotionally, and it can also impact us on with regard to our sleep patterns. So basically from the start of April and certainly towards the end of May, if not the first week or two of June, I expect that many people will be experiencing disrupted sleep patterns, sleep cycles. You may be feeling overly emotional during this period of time. Emotions could be running high within your relationships, just generally speaking. But in summary, the catalyst for this change or for the new moon eclipse events to take place in your life could occur anytime within the month of April or May, but then it may take 3 or even 6 months for you to actually develop this new source of income or to welcome these new resources into your life. So moving on to the 10th of May, where we will have 2 events taking place in one day. We're going to have Mercury station retrograde at 4 degrees in the sign of Gemini, and this will take place in your 3rd house. On the same day, a few hours later, Jupiter will enter the sign of Aries. So there's this really interesting push and pull energy because Mercury retrograde can lead to there being delays or complications or issues which you need to revisit. But then Jupiter in Aries is like, oh my God, I just want to hit the ground running and start all this new stuff that I've been dreaming of or that I've been planning. So let's just have a look at the Mercury retrograde impact first, because Certainly by the time we get to around the 24th or the 25th of May, this is when things are really going to start picking up the pace more. So, Mercury stations retrograde in Gemini on the 10th of May in your third house. And because Mercury naturally rules over Gemini itself, which means it rules over your third house as well as your sixth house, this can see you being very busy redoing projects and reconnecting to friends, colleagues, whether these are former friends, former colleagues, or even people that you either haven't spoken to in a very long time or people that you are actually estranged from. Now, Mercury and Gemini in the third house are all connected to friends and relatives, co-workers, business clients and connections, and siblings. So we're looking at extended relatives like your cousins, aunts and uncles, and siblings. So this can see you seeing things from their perspective or vice versa. You may finally flesh out some issues or difficult topics which have been a part of your relationship with one or more of these individuals. Like I said, if you are estranged from any of these people, you can hear from them out of the blue, or maybe you're the one who will be reaching out to them. Now, the third house is connected to short courses and educational studies, and it is also connected to learning mechanical skills. So with Mercury retrograde energy, this can see you picking up where you left off. Maybe you had pushed the pause button on certain courses, or maybe you had deferred, or maybe you had quit altogether and now you are re-enrolling. If you are starting a new course for the first time during this period, you may actually have some kind of complication or experience a set of, well, setbacks, for want of a better word, and you may have to submit additional information. Maybe you need to submit identity documents. Maybe, just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. You may have to submit additional paperwork or documentation because there are some sort of hurdles that you need to jump through with regard to these applications. Now, the third house is also connected to diplomas, certifications, qualifications, and so on and so forth. So for those of you who are enrolled in a field of study, you may actually be switching it up, changing paths. And if you are waiting for some kind of accreditation to come through, or perhaps you have finished an apprenticeship, receiving the paperwork to say, hey, tick, you've done this, congratulations, this may be delayed. So in terms of the retrograde period, we're looking at the 10th of May through till the 2nd or the 3rd of June. So you may be looking at after this period of time for these matters to be sorted out and rectified. Now, you may have to resit an exam or a test, whether you are studying for something at a university level, or whether you are in school at the moment. Essentially, this can be resitting something and, like I said, taking a test again. Now, on the 22nd or the 23rd of May, depending on where you live in the world, Mercury will retrograde from Gemini in your third house back into your second house. So this means that we're now looking at your finances and your resources and your valuables. So interesting that this Mercury retrograde is following the new moon eclipse just 3 weeks earlier, and these things could certainly be connected to one another. So you may have to revise your finances, and you may have to pay money back to people, especially because Mercury rules over your sixth house, which is connected to loans and debts. You may be receiving money back from a claim which was outstanding. So maybe the government owes you money, maybe you're owed some kind of rebate or grant, and this has been delayed. You could be owed money from clients of yours or a business deal that you've done. And also with the second house being connected to valuables and possessions, old possessions could be returned to you, especially if these are from co-workers, friends, relatives, or siblings. Now, just looking back at Jupiter in Aries in your second house, which once again will be on the 10th or the 11th of May, depending where you live in the world. First of all, Jupiter takes 12 years to do a full orbit through all 12 zodiac signs. So this can see you finally being able to bring forth some kind of project that you've been working on or ideas which have been bubbling along. And these could even just be dreams that you've had, or fantasies. And I'm saying that because prior to Jupiter entering the sign of Aries, it was in the sign of Pisces, where it spent about 12 months all up in this sign. So with Jupiter having been in Pisces, which is behind your ascendant or your sun or moon, it would have been very hard for you, especially and specifically as Aries people, to give birth to a new course of action that you want to take, or some kind of new uncharted territory that you want to explore. So Jupiter loves exploring, and that is because it rules over travel. So with Jupiter being in your first house, first of all, you will experience a revitalized sense of vitality and an increase in your energy levels. However, the full impact of Jupiter being in Aries in your first house will not be felt until around the 24th of May. And that is because Mars is still in the sign of Pisces, and Mars is the planet that rules you. So, having said all this, there may be some kind of gap between the 10th of May and about the 24th of May, because it's sort of like, oh my gosh, I have all this energy, I have all this vitality, I have all these big dreams, and then the execution may not be there. It may be hard for you to get something off the ground. So you may have the impulse or the desire to expand and learn and grow, and you may feel quite invincible or like you have all of these grand plans, and then it's kind of like you've got the bow and arrow, right? And so you're like drawing it back with Jupiter and Aries, and then you try to release it and you're like, crap, like I can't aim it. The target is off, or something is obscuring the target. So if you're experiencing this, and it's only going to be like a 2-week period, just know that that would be expected. So in terms of the time frame of Jupiter being in Aries, it will be there from the 10th of May until the end of October in 2022, at which point it will re-enter the sign of Pisces for a little bit. And then come the 20th of December in 2022, it will re-enter the sign of Aries, and it will be in Aries until about July 2023. So essentially, the people or the Aries individuals who will experience the best blessings that Jupiter can bring with this transit will be those who are Aries suns born in the first 8 days of Aries. So that would be from the 21st of July. Oh my gosh, the 21st of March through till the 29th of March, or maybe even the 30th of March. And the rest of you Aries suns will experience the highlights or the blessings that Jupiter will bring from 2023 onwards. And I'm saying that because Jupiter will only get to about 8 degrees in Aries until it will retrograde back into Pisces. So moving along until, I just wanted to say, if you're an Aries moon or ascendant person, you want to look at being an Aries from 0 to about 8, or even let's say 9 degrees. And then, if you're in the latter part, you'd be looking at 2023 onwards. So this will essentially instill a lot of confidence in you. Like I said, you'll have more energy. This will actually bring blessings to your health, and also this can bring travel opportunities, so international travel opportunities, especially for these 0 to 8 or 9 degrees Arians. So now moving along until to the 16th of May. This is when we will see a total lunar eclipse in Scorpio at 25 degrees, and this will take place in your 8th house. So essentially, new moon eclipses, which we saw at the very beginning of the month, indicate a new chapter beginning in your life, whereas lunar eclipses indicate a chapter ending. Now, this is a total lunar eclipse, and what that means is that this eclipse is far more powerful than a regular or partial lunar eclipse. So we could say this is like a chapter in your life ending, kind of like full moon energy, but on steroids. So with this taking place in your 8th house, this will pertain to one or more of the following areas: a health crisis, taxes, debts, inheritances, a psychological breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough or spiritual awakening. And also, this could relate to the discovery of some kind of buried secret or buried information. So, with this total lunar eclipse, it is making some positive aspects, but then it is making a pretty harsh aspect. So it makes a square to Saturn in Aquarius at 24 degrees. So this is the negative aspect, but the positive aspect that it makes is a trine to Mars, which will be in Pisces, and also Neptune will be in Pisces as well, and they will be at 23 and 24 degrees respectively. With knowing that Mars is the ruler of Scorpio and that this eclipse trines the ruler of Scorpio, I would say that the positives outweigh the negatives. Nonetheless, we can't ignore this square to Saturn in Aquarius in your 11th house. So, a few different ways that this can play out for you is that you discover some kind of secret that perhaps a friend has been harboring, or perhaps even an older sibling. And I'm saying that because Saturn is in your 11th house, and the 11th house is connected to friends, acquaintances, and older siblings. And you discover this, right? But this benefits you, and now you can end this relationship or you can take action. So it's kind of like the shock, which is the Aquarius energy, comes through by a setback or an issue in one of those relationships, but then you're able to take action accordingly. Now, this could see you actually putting to bed some kind of issue that you have with this individual, but this could come through some kind of personal disappointment in one or more of these individuals. Now, you could actually be settling some kind of inheritance or something that is owed to you, which we would also see from the 8th house, or taxes or debts. But there could be some issues that are posed here for your long-term planning. So maybe you have paid off some kind of tax money that is owing, but now you're further away from achieving your long-term goals or dreams. Now you could have a spiritual awakening, like I mentioned earlier, or even a psychological breakthrough. So the 8th house, or the lunar eclipse taking place in the 8th house, indicates that, okay, I can heal from this, I can move on from this, I can take action, I can let this go. But maybe a friend or an acquaintance or an older sibling is like, what are you doing? I disagree with this. How have you arrived at these conclusions? So there can be some pushbacks or setbacks that you experience from other people's reactions to you. Now, you can certainly have an intuitive download and this could maybe disrupt your long-term plans for the future. So maybe you had a certain set of steps in place for what you wanted to do with your career or with a long-term goal. And now you have this realization that, okay, a sudden set of events have taken place, and now I need to pivot or change course. And this could delay you further from achieving that goal or dream, as indicated by the square to Saturn, and Saturn representing delays. Now, lastly, for the month, we are going to see Mars enter the sign of Aries around the 24th or the 25th of May, depending where you live in the world. So this can see you feeling bold, independent. You can have a lot of confidence. You can start getting fit, taking action. You may be looking at transforming your appearance, especially because Mars rules over your 8th house. Now, don't forget that Mars and Jupiter will now be here together in your 1st house. So this can see you doing things in a really, really big way. Really bold changes to your appearance, really dramatic changes to your weight, or to how you're presenting yourself, or to even changing the course or trajectory that you're on. This can see some of you just packing up your bags and leaving. And that is because Jupiter represents travel. So now the opportunity for you to travel is opening up. What's interesting is that around the 25th, 26th, and 27th and 28th of May, we're going to have the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Chiron, all in Aries, all for a few days at once. So this is when pivotal, life-changing events will be taking place for you, Aries. And because so many planets are involved here, including your chart ruler, this indicates that blessings can come through. And I'm saying this because Mars is your willpower. It's the course of action that you're taking. But then Moon, Jupiter, and Venus are all very harmonious, soft, gentle planets. The only thing here is that Chiron is in Aries. So this it may be that you have to I want to say, not hurt other people, but disappoint other people, because Mars is what you're doing. And then Moon and Venus are your relationships. And Jupiter is, you doing things on a big, grand scale. And then Chiron is, how we are wounded, but then how we can wound others. So you may find that you have to put yourself first in order to initiate this huge new change or development in your life. But other people may disagree with you. In any case, this is a time where big changes are going to happen in your life. And you'll also want to have a look at the other Aries people that Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, because big changes will be happening in their life as well. Now, I just want to say that with so much fertile energy, Moon, Jupiter, and Venus being in Aries, and with Mars being involved here as well, this is a very fertile time for you. So if you're wanting to start a family, you can certainly do so. If you're not wanting to, then you may want to take some sort of precautions. And also, this is not the time where I would be taking huge physical risks. And in saying that, I mean, I always come back to this example, but like bungee jumping or skydiving, I really, really, really would not be doing that around the let's just say the 24th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 28th of May. To play it safe, maybe you want to wait until the first week of June. My moon in Virgo always likes to play it safe. In any case, Aries, that's all I have for you for May 2022. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. And if you want to watch your sun, moon, or rising, and it's different to Aries, you can check out the schedule on this platform. Bye for now, and take care, you guys.